Hi YouTube, Engineer Boy 100. Today is the time for another Porsche 996 Turbo DIY. Today's video is the clutch master cylinder. Mine is going bad, and the symptoms are the car is kind of hard to get in gear. It doesn't really want to be completely disengaged when I start the engine with just the clutch depressed in, and I suspect it's either leaking internally or externally. I think it's the original slave cylinder master cylinder that came with the vehicle. I don't think it's ever been changed. So, without further ado, let's get upside down, get up underneath that dash, and see what we got. All right, so let me demonstrate real quick. When you're going to install your fittings, leave the clip in. Okay, leave the clip in. Also up here, you can leave the clip in. This is a little bit different. I'll show you. This is super easy. But the clip is in, you take it and give it a nice firm push, and it snaps in. You don't have to take this in and out, but you can't get it out. You can't remove it with the clip installed. You have to remove it to take it out. But to put it in, you put your clip in advance, and then you put in your fitting. Now, on this top one, when you remove it, I have made some mistakes in the video, so I'm trying to get rid of most of those. Don't even bother taking this out when it's in the car. Leave this hose, there's that hose that comes in here. Leave it in, take your hose clamp loose. That's underneath here. Take the hose clamp loose and just take the whole thing out. And then you can remove the clip and the little short L-shaped hose once you have the master cylinder removed. Don't try and take this clip out up under the dash. You don't need to. Leave it on there. Take the hose and the master cylinder out together. That's a huge. You don't have to fool around with that thing under the dash. Take it out. Then you remove the clip. Swap it onto your new master cylinder, and then poke it through the firewall. I'll show that. Poke it into the firewall, and you don't have to fool with this until you get it in and out. All right. So I just wanted to make this part real clear. Now this won't come out. You have to actually take the clip out, and I'll show that real quick too. You just take that clip out sideways like that. Comes out sideways, and then you can just pull your fitting out. And it just goes in there. All right, just want to make that really super clear. Okay, so here's the side of the car, and I'm going to show you guys where it connects under the frunk. Out there just for reference. So there it is. You see that green line? And there is the clip that we have to take a loose right here. Okay, so the little clip comes out sideways, and I pulled it out part way already. And just figured I'd grab this little bit of footage and show you so you can see which way it comes off. And I just worked this little sharp pick in there and pulled it. And then now I'm just going to pull it on out like that. Okay. So there it is. It's probably on that napkin somewhere. And then I should be able to remove this line. See, like that. And it's going to drip a little bit. And that's why I have the towel there. And when you pull that line all the way out, you'll notice there is a little O-ring right here on the tip. You're probably going to want to replace that on with Viton material. You know, penicillin resistant type O-ring, and not put that same O-ring back in. All right, let's get underneath the dash and take a loose those mount bolts. Yep, I've been keeping it on a tender, and the battery is fully charged. Look what I got today. My O-rings just shipped in. Here they are. I'm going to put them on the tips of those two little those tubes. I'm going to put some synthetic grease on them that's inert, won't react with the penicillin. And then I'm going to reinstall this cylinder and bleed the system and go for a drive. So let's get right into it. All right, guys, it's about 6 weeks. I've been waiting in parts, doing honeydews, had to bury my dad. So finally, I'm getting back to putting this 45-minute job together, installing this master cylinder. The time has passed, but that's a good thing because there were a lot of parts that I was waiting on that weren't going to be in the video originally that are now here. So let me show them to you. Then I'll get upside down under that dash and get this job done. All right, some of you guys know, for whatever reason, my cap stripped. I can't see that it's stripped, but I can't get the cap back on my master cylinder reservoir. So I gave up on it, and I decided to go with this billet aluminum. And man, is it nice. The quality is on point. I love it. And so I'm going to put this silicone hose on there. I'm going to push it on there, and then I'm going to trim it to size. And I'll show you a cool technique for trimming this. I'm actually going to make another video for that, but I'm going to do it here too. But I'll make a separate video because it's kind of a cool combination of techniques that I learned from other YouTubers. So, okay, I'm digressing. I'm going to get under there, put the new OEM master cylinder on. Because I had a new one, but it wasn't OEM. I found out if it didn't have the green, this little green arm on it, it wasn't OEM. So I didn't want it. I didn't want to put it on. I'll keep it, but I ordered this one. And it took forever. The company I ordered it from, I don't even know if I want to tell you their name. It was a nightmare. I'm not going to even complain. I'm not going to start complaining. It was just a nightmare. So anyway, I got it. We're going to put it on. Now, I ordered some parts. So spare little hoses and stuff so that I can, and I have another one. See, where is it? So that I can bleed this. I'm going to put it on. Put this on, and I'm going to bleed it up here on top. So that all right, so here it is. Here is the other end I was telling you guys about. See, it's a metal end. It's the same as, it's a little bit longer. It's the same as this plastic one, but it's a little longer. Just like you can't see it. It's down here. The one that comes out. Let's see if I can. See, here we go. This is the one that goes down to the slave cylinder, okay, and it's the same as this. So I'm going to use that to bleed the air out of my master cylinder. So in preparation of installation, before I get under the dash, I'm just going to take this, and I think you just push it in. Boop, there it is. So this is going to come through, and this will be the end from my reservoir. There's a little hose under there, and then this will be out going to the green one I just showed you. And of course, this I'll show you guys how to connect this under the dash. So now, sometimes you will want to bleed the whole system to get the old fluid out of the line between the master cylinder and the slave cylinder. But in this case, I don't need to do that because I already had my slave cylinders fail. So my fluid is fresh. So I just need to make sure all the air is out. So there's no air from here down. So I'm just going to bleed up here and reconnect it. And hopefully it works. We'll see. I'll let you know. So let me get down upside down under that dash. Get this master cylinder installed. And then trim the hose. Install this cool looking thing. Get rid of this OEM. I don't know. I'm going to toss this, I think. Yeah. If I ever sell the car and they want OEM, they can get OEM. It's the simple part. I'm not worried about keeping it stock for that. Something that simple. All right, so let's get under the dash. Somebody said on my forum, they said, oh, you can't get no camera under the dash to show us. So we're going to see about that. This is what you should look like when you're doing this job. Something like this. All right, so here are the two mount bolts, and there's the clip. And there will be a little bit of leakage, so I'm going to put a good little bit, 3 or 4 doubled up paper towels under this thing before I take that piece of loose. And then, of course, here is the arm. Let's see if I can give you a shot of the connection point on the arm. Can you see that? I don't know. I have to take the arm loose, take two, I think those are 10 millimeter. So I get under, those are 10 millimeter bolts. And then that supply hole goes in through the firewall as well. So let's get on with it. See, I'll try to show you, at least show you me loosening those bolts. All right, so the next thing I'm going to take loose is this clamp right here, this hose clamp. This goes to the top of the master cylinder, and it's where the fluid comes in and supplies the cylinder with fluid. Okay, that clamp right there. I'll show you how that clamp goes into the master cylinder right now. All right, so this is the orientation of the master cylinder right now in the vehicle, and the clamp that I'm going to be taking off is it's coming out of the firewall this way, and it's coming inside and going down right here. Okay, and both of these clips, the one here, here, and the one here, they come out sideways. Okay, they come out sideways. So you don't try to push them down or anything. They slide sideways. So once I take the clamp loose on the holes that we just looked at right here, and I take those 10 millimeter bolts inside loose, and of course this little clamp here is a clip. I'll show you this clip once I get it off. Then this whole thing should just come into the car like that. Okay. Then when you put it back on, this new one, I'm going to leave these clips in place. They just snap in, snap, snap like that. You don't have to take these out and try to put those back in. There we go. And then you should be able to just slide that off. Beautiful. Now we can go inside. All right, so I'm going to try to hold the camera and get that, pull that pin out at the same time. We shall see about that. Okay, so here's a little quick detail section about the little clip on the end of the pin. Just want to show you what it looks like. And the way you remove it is, you simply, that's the way I did it anyway, I just grabbed the clip and you just slide it off. It comes off just like that, off of the pin. Okay, so that will maybe make it a little bit easier to understand what you're trying to do when you're underneath upside down. Okay, so there's the pin, and now we're going to do the 10 millimeter mount bolts. And here's your little arm is loose. Get the pin out, see? So that's loose. Nicey, nicey. So once I finish getting these out, she will be completely free to come out. All right, so I got my little ratcheting combination wrench here, using the box ends. So there's one, so they look like, and now I get the other one. All right, so I got that back one a little bit looser. See if I can take that out now. Fingertip turns, and voila. So now I should be able to pull this out of the firewall and then just change that elbow out onto the new one. So let's see what we got here. Oh, look at that. Voila.
And you just change out that elbow piece before you put the new one in, and then connect it on the outside. So let's do that now.
All right, so now I'm just going to take this top elbow off and transfer it to the new slave cylinder. And we're just going to take off this clip here. Nice and easy. They come out sideways. All right, and I don't want to drop it. So I'm going to use these needle nose to just pull it out like that. And then I just have a little magnet over here that I put it on so that it can't move. And then, I'm not sure how this is supposed to come out. I would guess it just snaps off. But, once again, I've never done, yeah, it just snaps off. And there's an O-ring on this too. I don't really think, yeah, it's kind of flat. Take it off, examine it, and if it's flat, I'm going to have to measure this and order some O-ring replacements. And then finish this job when the O-rings get here. So yeah, you need 2 O-rings. And I'll post the size of these and where you can get them and all that so that you can order O-rings in advance and change yours. All right, so when you do reinstall the clip, let's turn this around so you can see it. The clip will be installed like that. It'll be there, and you should be able to just take this and push it in. Just like that. You'll get a double snap. It's a 2-stage snap. Make sure it's all the way down or you're going to have a leak. So that's how you put that in. Then you reinstall it, and you'll clamp it once it goes through the firewall. You might want to put a little bit of Vaseline on there so it slides through easier, so you don't get hung up. And then just reattach the hose clamp. All right, down we go. And let's install this little guy. Up we go.
All right, there go our 2 holes, target and the firewall. So we're going to take our hose through the little hole here, see, on top, and this one on the bottom. So we're going to take this guy through that one, and this guy through the little one. And I left the plug in because I don't want to get any debris in the hole, so I'll take that out when it's on the other side. Okay, I got the little one. Maybe do the little one first. So I got the little one in, and now you push it in, and you line up the bottom one, and pop. See? Push that in like that. And then you can get your back side bolted in. There's 3 things you gotta do. Bolt here, the bolt here, and then you bolt this to the pedal with the pin. It goes through here. Do this little, probably have to move, yeah, you have to move the pedal in and get the pin through. And then I'm gonna go to the other side. I'll do that because there's just no room for my hand in the camera. But I did get up under here and show it, guys. So come on, give me some credit. All right, so I'm gonna get that done. Then I'm going to the other side and try this little bleeding trick that I've been talking about. And also, I'm gonna trim that silicone hose and put that billet aluminum reservoir in. All right, stay tuned. Okay, so here's the first one. See, where's that mount hole? There it is. And then the other one's in the back. Let's try to get that in the hole. Oops, that's the wrong hole. Make sure you get in the right hole, guys. And then get that threaded, get that one threaded. So I actually can squeeze a little extra room out of this. So that's how those go in. And then, yeah, you put the pin in here and you're done. Yeah. Get that on there.
So here's a close-up of the pin that we're going to be pushing through, just so you can see what it looks like. And here's the clip that you want to push on once you have it through. Okay, so that's what I'll be doing upside down now on the control end.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and try and show the pin installation. It goes right up here through here, and you got to have this through there, and here's the pin. So I got to go through here and then get that lined up. So I'm going to try and do this on the camera. See if I can. It's really tight in here. You know, I think I'm going to put this in here first, just lightly, all the way through. Then try and pull that, and then and then move the pedal just a smidge, and then look at that, guys. All right, so there's the end where I'm going to be putting the little clip, and this is what it would look like, you know, from the bottom view, where you would be pushing that clip straight up on there. So next I'll just show the clip in place. Okay, and there it is with the clip installed. You just push it on and by hand, and it just slides into the little groove. So now let's go up top side, bleed that reservoir, install that new cool billet aluminum reservoir, and take it for a drive. All right, so the bolts are all tightened up, and I'm right-handed, but I've found that it's easiest to access and tighten these bolts if you use like a ratcheting box and wrench like this, and use your left hand like this. Okay, it's like 10 times easier than trying to force yourself to use your right hand. So if you get on here under here with your left hand, because these are on this side, it's way easier. Okay, I thought it was worth noting because it was so significant. It's such a significant change in trying to force it with my right hand, just because I'm right-handed. You can reach both bolts, and it's just way easier. And then with the ratcheting thing, once you get it on there, you just go to town, and you don't have to take it back off. Anyway, that I think is the best pro tip for this job.
All right, it's for this reservoir. I think it's just going to be out with the old, in with the new. So I'm going to just snip this zip tie. I don't know if this is OEM or previous owner, but I'm not going to be holding mine in with no zip tie. We're going to use something a little bit more substantial than that. A zip tie. Yikes. To hold the reservoir. So the reservoir is going bye-bye. We're going to retain this hose. Take this off. Put it on our, oh, they went to the cap. Put it on our aluminum one. And this guy's going to go bye-bye. Oh my, it dropped my cap down in there. I'm going to use that as an excuse to use my new gripper, snipper, long nose, double jointed needle nose pliers. Down we go. Look at that. Easy peasy. I love it. First time I used it. Great. All right. All right, so real quick, I just wanted to make sure you guys saw me check to see if this hose fits. See the OEM hose, that's the fit. If you decide to get this thing, fits perfectly. I did transfer my label, okay, for the Pinison from my OEM. It fits perfectly on here. Now I'm going to go ahead and trim this yellow silicone hose. I'm going to put around this for protection and vibration and stuff. I'm going to trim it about right here. Okay. Now there's a technique, actually 3 components to a technique for making sure you get a nice square cut if you don't have a professional die cutter. Okay. So I'll show you how to do that next. And the reason I picked yellow is because I have a yellow F-pipe. I'm going to show you how to cut a nice clean square cut on a silicone rubber hose. So for my hose, I'm going to cut it, about right above these words. Now, if you don't have a mark or you have anything on your hose, what you can do is, make a line all the way around it nice and clean. And there's different ways to do that. You can actually use the hose clamp and mark it, or there's a number of different ways. You can use a piece of paper and wrap it around it. You can make an edge, but I don't need an edge because I have this, and I'm going to be using this hose clamp. Okay, so there's 3 steps. There's 3 little techniques to use if you don't have a professional die cutter to cut a nice, clean, sharp edge. Okay, and number 1 is, of course, you're going to use a hose clamp, put it on your hose, and get it nice and tight. Number 2, before you cut, you want to put soap, some kind of soap like Dawn, on your blade and on your hose, so that as you cut, it smoothly glides through the rubber and doesn't catch and cause you to go off. The 3rd technique is, as you cut the rubber with your knife, you want to roll the hose away from you, and you want to angle your blade slightly towards your edge, so that your edge kind of controls. You don't want it going out away from the hose clamp. That's going to make it an unsquare cut. So you want to cut all the way around. You want to start here at your little screw, go all the way around. You're going to stop at the screw, loosen this up. You can turn it, and then finish the cut. I'm going to trying to give you an advanced overview so you kind of can see what I'm doing as I do it. So now I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I know I want my cut right above these letters here, so that's where I'm going to put my hose clamp. So put it on there. You want to get it nice and tight, not overly tight. You don't want to crumple the hose, but you want to get it good and tight so that it compresses the rubber and gives you more of a solid object to cut. Kind of like having something inside of it, but without having anything inside of it. So I'm going to go ahead, put my hose right here, right above these letters. I'm going to maybe cut right at the letters. Get it as square as possible, and then tighten down your hose. Okay. See, my hose is not collapsed, but it's good and tight. So once your hose is tight, okay, you want to pick one here. I'm going to pick the big knife. Okay. Okay, get it about where I can control it. And then I'm going to put soap on the blade. Okay, a little soap on the blade. And I'm going to put some soap around the edge of where I'm going to cut. So you want soap all around there. So as I cut, I keep it basically lubricated. If you want to call it lubricated with soap, so that my blade doesn't catch on the rubber. Okay, a little bit more so that it doesn't take a lot. You just want enough so that as you go around it, it is good and slippery. Okay, so now as I cut, I'm going to start here right at the screw, and I'm going to have a nice little angle towards my hose clamp, and I'm going to just push the blade into, and then I'm going to start to cut and roll my, I'm going to go this a little bit longer. I'm going to roll the hose away from me as I cut. Okay, so I kind of cut and roll and cut and roll and roll and cut, and I'm pushing it away so that I'm using that hose clamp as a guide. Okay, so now I've gone all the way around and I've gotten back to the screw, and it's a little uneven. So I want to just loosen the screw and rotate the hose so that I have the edge. So you take the screw and rotate it away. Ooh, it's still too tight. And loosen that up a little bit and rotate it so that the screw part is away from that one little part that I still need to cut, so that I can use a nice smooth edge to finish my cut. So turn that like so, and then line it back up perfectly with your edge. See, so, all the way around both sides, get a square, and then I'm going to tighten it back up. So I have a secure guide. Like so. This is real time. And it's slippery now. So my hose clamp popped off. It doesn't have to be real tight, just enough to give you a guide. So I'm going to, and the soap is making it real slippery, so it's popping off. So I've never done this before, so this is good for you to see. I'm not gonna edit this out. I'll let you guys see what actually happened. So let me get it back up, and I'm not going to retighten it. I'm just going to kind of hold it in place and cut that last part, and then we're going to look at it and see how square it is. Okay, so I'm looking here, and it's a little tiny bit off here. I could probably correct that. Just trim that little piece that's sticking up, and it looks really good. I'll give you a peek, close-up look at it. So there it is. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than it. I bet you with practice, the technique can be better. But for what I'm using it for, I'll put the rough end up and use the die cut end down and just go on here like so. And I got a little bit of soap, so that should be fine. And this should just slide right on and look perfect the way I want it. Ooh, it's getting tight. So take some pressure, get it on that last little bit. But we got pressure, don't worry. We got good, constant pressure, almost there. Wow, that's tight. I probably should have put more soap. So, that's right. Man, maybe a little tiny bit more. That thing is tight. It ain't coming off on accident anyway. So now I can install it on the car. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and take the clip off of the end of the master cylinder down here for you guys. So let's see how that works. I got my double-ended needle noses here. Look at that. All right, guys. So now we're going to bleed the system. So I'm going to take the tip that I bought. All right, we're going to stick that into the end of the master cylinder down here. Now we're going to trim this hose to just long enough to go into the reservoir. So I'm going to say about right here should be fine. So we'll go about like that. And that should give us enough length to circle it back up into the new reservoir. We'll put some fluid in there, and then we'll pump the pedal and we'll get the air to come out. So let's see how that goes. Alright, I'm going to put some fluid into the reservoir, and then we're going to pump it. There we go. And you should be able to see the fluid coming through the hose back into the reservoir as we pump the air out of the system. Red light. Okay, action. We're going to pump the pedal a few times and get some get the air out of the system.
It's coming.
So that's good. All right.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, that's perfect. All right, we've bled the air out of the system, and I'm going to try to pull out the bleeder tube, which will leak, and then put the green feed tube to the slave cylinder in before all my fluid leaks out of my reservoir and pulls air back into the master cylinder. So here we go. So here we come out with the bleed tube. It's out, we're leaking, and the green tube, push that in. It's not leaking much though, actually. It's actually holding well. We got the green tube lined up. I'm gonna push it in, it should snap. There we go, it's past the, and all I have to do is put the clip in. All right, guys, I'm out doing a test drive on this puppy. It shifts nice and smooth. Got the clutch in, works great. Third, fourth, fifth, sixth. All right, so I'm gonna take off, and you guys can watch me shift my hand like right here in front of the phone, right here. So here we go. First gear. First. Second. Feels a lot better than it did. And this is a perfectly legitimate way to bleed your slave cylinder or your master cylinder. It's so cool. And you just boop. Works great. So for those who say, "Oh no, do it the right way," there is, you know, a condition where you want to bleed the whole system. If your system has never been bled in a while, if this, you know, the slave cylinder has failed, yeah, bleed the whole thing. But my slave cylinder failed a long time ago, so my piston was clean. It was fresh. It was new. So I didn't need to bleed all of the piston in the second half of the system. You know, the system breaks at the firewall. The firewall is where the supply line connects to the slave cylinder, and the firewall is where the system connects to the master cylinder. So if you bleed the slave cylinder half beforehand, air does not go down. It's not going to go down into that system. Okay. And for those who say, yeah, but there's a little bit of air in the very beginning of the tube, maybe. But here's the thing: you never get it all. You never get all of the air out of the system. I don't care if it's just the air that's still entrained in the fluid itself. Okay, there are small nooks and crannies and corners inside of the slave cylinder where air bubbles cling, and there's going to be a little in there. But if your clutch is functioning properly, disengaging cleanly and completely, that's good enough. Okay, when you say it's not doing right, you're not doing it right, that just shows how little you know. That's all that does. It doesn't tell anybody that there's a right or a wrong way to do it. It just exposes the fact that you have a limited knowledge of how the system works, how hydraulics work, how air in the system works. Because it's not right or wrong, it's what's appropriate for the condition. And my condition was I already bled the system, already had fresh fluid in the bottom half, and I found a way to bleed just the top without going underneath. That is effective. I am driving proof of that. So I love it, it's great. So the other thing is, if you feel comfortable bleeding the whole system, or you don't feel comfortable bleeding half the system, fine. Do whatever hell you want. This is just an alternative for those of us who want to only bleed what is necessary. And if you don't feel comfortable doing that, then don't do it. Don't get mad. Don't argue. There's people, you know, jumping down my throat in the forums like I'm doing something wrong to somebody. Come on, guys. It's just another way of doing it. You don't have to do it that way if you don't want to. Okay? But you cannot dictate that nobody else can do it that way either. That's the problem with people. They want to tell you what to do with your car. Jesus. Educate yourself and then do whatever the hell you want. Alright, that's it, guys, for this video. Thanks for watching. Back on the road. I am going to start working on the my oil sending unit video. I got to take the car apart, drop the engine, and get that going for you guys. So that's next. I think I'm going to release one little video that's already integrated into this one about how to cut the little hose, the little silicone hose, how to cut it. My cut didn't come out all that perfect, but I've seen people who have a better skill level than me, who have more practice than me, do a really good, clean job of cutting that little silicone hose. So this is another little tip. I'll have that in a separate video anyway. But for now, I'm signing off. Next video hopefully will be my oil sending unit replacement, and hopefully that solves my issue of having randomly different readings. Low 1 quart, low 2 quarts, completely full, all in the same 5 minutes of reading each other. So I need to get that guy changed out and get that video up and show you guys how to change that. And other than that, as usual, thanks for watching and have a nice day.